So the next thing I'm looking at doing is, what I'm thinking of doing is making a test client that will just continually send and receive messages so that I can run a couple copies and start testing out the functionality. So to do this, what I'll do is instead of using the Trio library to make the test clients, I'll just use the top level Python built-in socket library. So it's a bit different from the Trio one. And as we go, you'll see some differences in how they work. So let's make a new Python file and call it testclient.py. So this is going to be a pretty simple one. So we'll import a couple libraries here. We'll import random. We'll also import the library socket because we need to create some sockets. Okay, and we should be able to use this to do some functionality. So what I'll say is while true, so we want to run forever. Try, we want to try and accept basically. So I've got these two exceptions, and what I'll say here in the accept is we'll just print the message got disconnected, reconnecting. And what I'll do is I'll also we'll import the time library, and we'll say time.sleep for 5 seconds, just so that we don't try and reconnect if something's broken too fast. So while we're running, what we actually want to do here is let's make a new connection. So I'll say sock equals socket dot create connection. So we want to connect to the server, and what you pass create connection is, as it says here, the address is a tuple of a string and an integer. So what that means is like this, we say localhost, so we want to connect to localhost on port 9876. And so that's the address, and this should give us a connected socket. Then what we want to do is now from this socket we want to send and receive messages. So first of all we've got to send our name to the server. So what we'll do is we'll say sock.sendAll and we'll give it a byte string and we'll say our name is testbot1. Then we want to basically forever send a message and receive all the messages that are waiting for us. So what I'll do is I'll just make up here a list of some example messages equals, and let's make a list. Oops, don't want that. Okay, and so we'll just choose a few simple messages. So we'll say hi there is one message. How are you is a second message. Just chuck a question mark there. And then for the final message, let's say I like pizza. Cool. So these are our example messages, and what I'm going to do is actually just make them byte strings because when we're sending on a socket, we need to send bytes. So first of all, we connect up, we send all testbot1, and I'll chuck in a new line there because remember we have to end the sending of your name with a new line. And then while true, what we want to do is say send a message. So sock.sendAll, and what we'll do is we'll do random.choice. So pick one of the messages from our messages list. So random.choice is going to go to our list and pick one of those messages at random, and then it will send that. And I'm just going to plus that with a \n just to send a new line at the end as well. So we're going to send one of those messages and then finish it with a new line just to indicate that we've finished our message. And then we want to receive any waiting text. So we will say sock.receive. So RECV is to receive. And we'll just say a number. So we have to say how much we want to potentially receive. And I'm going to say 4096. So maximum of 4096 bytes. So we'll call that received message equals that. And what I'll do now is I'll just print received message to the terminal. And then basically we're going to go back to sending all, receiving any messages, sending all again. Now this is obviously going to loop really fast. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to chuck a time.sleep in here as well and say each time we start up, we want to wait 5 seconds between sending and receiving messages so that we don't just spam the term like the server continuously. So basically, just looking at our logic here, we start up, we've got some messages here. Then, forever, we're going to try and create a connection, send our name, and then while we've got the connection open, we're going to try and send all, and then receive any messages, print the received messages, sleep for a bit, and then send all again of one of our random messages. If we crash creating the connection, or we crash sending our name, or we crash sending a message, then we're going to hit this exception and it'll print out we got disconnected, reconnecting, we'll sleep for 5 seconds, and then we'll loop in again. So let's give this a shot. Okay, so let's run our server. And now here, let's say Python test client. So we're going to run the test client and see what happens. Okay, so we got a message and it said, "Hi, what is your name?" And we tried sending our name, and that actually crashed the server. So there's some bug in our server. But we can just leave this here running, and you can see it's now saying, "Got disconnected, reconnecting." So basically, because the server crashed, our test client got disconnected, and now it's just going to keep reconnecting. So we can just leave that test client running there. And we can fix the bug in our server, and then as soon as we run the server again, our test client will connect up again. So the error is here on this line 13 in connection, line 13. Can't concat string to bytes. It must be here where this new line is. So let's try again. Hi there, I'm starting up. And it says, "Hi, what is your name?" And we send back to the server, "Hi there, testbot," and then the testbot has started sending messages to us. Now it's not obvious that the testbot is actually sending messages. So what I might do is, before we send these messages, I might just say print sending name, and then also before we send a message, what we might do is say message equals random.choice. So we'll pick a message, then we'll say print sending, and we'll chuck in the message, and then we'll send that message here. Message. Okay, and then we receive our message and we print the received message. So let's restart the test client. Cool. So now it says sending name, sending I like pizza, and then you see it appear up here, and then sending hi there testbot. Oh, sorry, sending I like pizza again, then sending hi there, etc. Now we may actually want to have a bit of a sleep after our initial sending of the name. We'll just sleep for 1 second, and then we might just print sock.receive, and we'll say 4096 there as well. And this will just allow us to see the response to our sending of name straight away instead of having to wait. You see it's sort of interpolated here, which is somewhat confusing. So let's give this another shot. So sending name, what is your name? Hi there, testbot. Cool. One other thing, we might just do another one of these print receives before even sending the name, because although we know that the server is going to ask for the name, it actually asks for the name first before we send it. So hi, what is your name? Sending name, hi there, testbot, and then sending hi there. etc. Okay, so now we've got our test bot up and running, and that can run for a while, no problems. Okay, I did some extra research and I realized that these sockets are actually going to end up stuck and never finish running. And the reason is that if we look at the test client, um, when we go to receive messages here, we actually are not going to, it's going to wait forever to receive a message. So if the server doesn't send us any message, it's just going to sit there waiting. So what we actually need to do here is after we create the connection, we want to say, and this is from the Python docs, we want to say set the timeout. Um, so it's a floating point number expressed in seconds. So what we can do is say sock.set timeout. And what we'll say is we'll wait for a maximum of, let's say, 3 seconds for a message to come back. Now, when we do the receive now, we want to actually try to receive a message and accept socket.timeout. So if we receive a timeout, then we can just say received message equals nothing. And that should mean that our loopers don't lock up. So let's try that again. So this one's running the new code. And you can see that now it's doing the sending, and then it receives, doesn't receive anything, so it ends up with an empty byte string after a little bit. And then it sleeps for 5 seconds, and then it tries to send a new message. And now it's continuously sending messages to the server up here. So let's start this one again as well, and just confirm that we can have 2 running there and they're not going to lock up. Cool, so we're sending messages, and they're both arriving up here.